Hello and welcome to Shoan Snoday Presents with Misty Kortes once again. Yay!
Hello, hello. Good morning.
Hey, we missed you last week. We went over the email thing, which I kind of want to go over that again, bringing back the email newsletter. But we're going to be talking about partnerships, strategic power partnerships today,
Yeah.
which I've been in some really good power partnerships, and then I've been in some that were a little iffy.
hmm
So, what exactly does that mean when you say strategic power partnerships?
Yeah, I kind of coined the term. I don't, maybe someone else had it too as well, but I don't know. Years and years ago, it's been at least 13 years. I had a couple of clients I was working with, and I just started to realize like everybody was coming to me and saying, I want to, I want to set up Facebook ads. And there was so many opportunities within our core little group that I was working with. As an example, I had a painter and I had a window washer that I was working with, and I said, you two should be working together. Like the painter's out there painting. He did exterior paints of houses, and I said nobody wants a nice new painted house and not have clean windows, right?
Right.
And so I said, bundle that as an added value into your service, um, and then that way you can refer your clients to the window cleaner guy, and vice versa. When the window cleaner guy's out there, cleaning windows of houses, he can hand your card out and say, hey, if you ever need your house painted, I have a guy. And
Right.
so it just started kind of growing from there, and I made a bunch of connections like that. And I think most people have heard of creating partnerships, or you know, but I think the reason why I call it strategic power partnerships is because it's not, I think a lot of entrepreneurs in the early days of their business, they'll partner with basically anyone. And like you said, exactly, you can get into some bad relationships that actually waste time, aren't beneficial. It just kind of
Or
creates
they're
bad.
they're just really great entrepreneurs and know how to use people.
Oh, that too.
And
That
then
could,
you
that,
don't know when you're being used.
that's
And
true.
next thing you know, you're like, wait, you made 100 grand and I made 17 grand,
Right.
you know?
Exactly.
I'm like, well, how did that happen?
Yep.
So, which actually happened, but I didn't mind because, it was his, but anyhow, that's besides the point.
Yeah.
So then,
I've had that happen too. So yes, I get it.
yeah, I'm sure we all have. Everyone watching here, like the whole thing with the strategic power partnerships. So the strategy is like the main root, not the root word, but it's the first word. So the strategy in that, what are some things you can do to like vet your partners to make
Yeah.
sure that they're a good connection? Now I have a friend, and I always like saying my good friend. I can't remember his name, um, but his name is Bob, and I forgot his last name, but he does blinds in San Diego,
Yep.
and he says the best blind date you'll ever meet, right?
I like that.
And he, since he does blinds, he deals with people that paint houses, wash windows, installs rugs, like. But he has a he's a great uh, personality first, and he's very likable, and then he has all these partnerships.
Yep.
So he's got that down. But what if you're new? What are some strategies you need to do?
Yeah, I think the first thing obviously is you need to make sure that you have complementary skills, that you're bringing to the table, that you're not competing with what the other person offers, because that's obviously not going to be a great long-term relationship.
Yeah.
You know, you also need to make sure that you have a shared audience, that you're both serving the same client, but in different ways.
Right.
I think that's key too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of
Um,
like what you do, is I do events. So, but I don't work with coaches, but I have a lot of coaches. Matter of fact, I'm speaking today to a couple hundred coaches,
nice.
and they're going to probably hire me. I probably shouldn't say this right before I speak, but I don't want them to. I want
Yeah.
them, but not really, because
Yeah.
my thing is more events right now, and just really people that are doing big events and getting them to be bigger and attracting more people. So, and then yours is coaches. So talk a little bit about what you do and then what a good power partner would be for you.
Yeah, that's a great question. So I've recently switched gears. I was an agency, a marketing agency working with, entrepreneurs and small businesses, primarily coaches, consultants, digital course creators that were at $250,000 a year and above, that needed, they were at a pivotal point in their business where they either needed to hire a marketing team and manage that team in-house, or they would be looking for someone like me,
Right.
where we could bring our agency to the table and they didn't have to manage our team. We had, one relationship that they had to maintain, and we kind of handled everything for them. So I've done that for 13 years. And now I'm switching gears totally. And I am working with the solopreneur, the brand new start, even the individual who is thinking about starting a business and doesn't know where to start. So I'm meeting them in that place where they're in the early stages of building their business. They're kind of bootstrapping, and they need all the help they can get. But unfortunately, in the beginning, fortunately or unfortunately, either way you look at it, when you're a brand new entrepreneur, a lot of times you have to wear a lot of the different hats in your business because you just don't have the budget to go out and hire an agency. And
Yeah.
that's normal. And I think it's actually a good thing because you learn what it takes to fill the position, and then as your business grows, when you do need to fill the position, you're more equipped to do it the right way because you've actually done the job yourself, so that when you bring someone on board, they can help you out. So anyways, that's the person I'm looking to work with. And I'm still working with coaches, consultants, digital course creators, and community people who want to build community-based networks and businesses.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's kind of, but then you always run into the Michael Gerber E-Myth situation. Even though, like his whole deal in there is first thing you do is you hire a bookkeeper, and then you need someone to put the pies in a box. So
Yep.
then you just get the bookkeeper to put the pies in the box, and they don't do it right. So then you fire them as the pie put in the box person, but then they get mad, so they quit as your bookkeeper, and now you're on like, so you run into that. But how do you have you worked with a lot of these people yet, or
The coaches and consultants.
the ones that are new?
Throughout the years, people have come to me, and obviously we had to turn them away. They just weren't in a position to be able to work with us. And a lot of times I would turn them onto my free resources. But no, I'm kind of rebuilding an audience. And what I'm finding right now, a couple of things. So I do have established strategic power partnerships. Obviously, you and I are one. I would
Yeah.
consider us one,
Yeah.
doing these live calls. I also have one with Keep, which is the software that we recommend for our, that they use to build their systems in their marketing systems. And so I have a ton of other, relationships, but though Keep has been one of the biggest relationships that I've built that's been ongoing now for over 13 years. And so, when I say power partnerships, it's not even necessarily that you're exchanging services. It can also be a tool or a resource that you provide to your community that you may become an affiliate partnership with, but it goes beyond even the affiliate partnership. It's not that you're just recommending the tool, but that you're embedded in their community and you're part of their business. Like I've sat on boards for SaaS companies that I've recommended to give them guidance and advice from my perspective and how I utilize the tool with my clients. So it was more than just, hey, I'm recommending this tool and getting an affiliate commission, but I was actually trying to actually help that business grow as well.
Right. Yeah. I
Yeah.
have the one thing about, so I love Go High Level,
Yeah, that's
but
another good one.
Go High Level is great for the newer people.
Mm-hmm.
But what I'm doing is a little bit more complicated. So I went and I hired Matt DeSano, who's Pro Tools.
Mm-hmm.
And so I talked with his team over the weekend or maybe last week. And just doing a very simple thing, like in Keep, it's like click and then campaign builder. And in Go High Level, I had to like literally, it was like a Tinker Toy and Lincoln Logs. Now I'm showing my age, but I'm just like, and like Chutes and Ladders. It was just so many things. I couldn't even build it. I was like, you know what? How about if I just stick with Keep? And I'm not putting down Go High Level, but what I am saying is that to have that expertise to get people to go in with the least amount of investment. Now, with Go High Level, it's going to be the least investment, but once you really get going,
Yeah.
you're going to really need the Ferrari in the industry, you know. And I'm not putting it down, but just from my experience over the weekend. But the part, you know, I've talked with their founders at Go High Level and at Keep, and
Yeah.
both of them want me to succeed, right?
Mhm.
So that's where it comes in as that type of partnership. When you're in a partnership with a SaaS, what are some things to do and not to do when you're in a relationship with them?
That's a
I can
good.
tell you what not to do. Don't cuss. I did that.
Oh, at an event?
Well, because no, I've done some things, but no, they filled my calendar, and I guess under my breath I was just going, I don't, you know,
Muttering.
and so that didn't work out very well.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think it's just SaaS related. I think it's any partnership that you build, you need to make sure it's mutually beneficial.
Yeah,
You know, you need to make sure that you guys are like you're in alignment with that business. You know, you don't want to align yourself with someone who has completely different values than what you hold
yeah.
as an individual and as an organization.
So
You
then
know.
that brings us to the due diligence and researching that particular
Mhm.
individual, because some people, um, they're just the shiny, happy people with the white teeth and the perfect hair. They look like a televangelist, right? And they
Mhm.
speak, and you're just like, great. Then you research them, and you're like, wait a minute, you know, you have some, and some of them do some really. I'm not going to say any names, but there's this one guy, and he was ripping off everyone's content at one time,
Oh,
and everyone got mad. And this is at like a multiple 6 7 digit level people.
all right.
And I remember going to traffic and conversions, and he was just like, all like, I'm that guy. And then after traffic and conversions, this is like 2016, 2017, all this news came out about him, and then he had to run the reputation management to push everything far down into Google. Now, the reason I'm talking about this is doing the due diligence.
Yes.
So how do you know if they're a good fit and if there's a history that you really don't want to be associated with?
Well, I think it goes back to when you're actually looking to build, these relationships, and you're doing your due diligence during that time. First of all, you want to network intentionally, like, do your homework, research them, consume their content, follow them on social media,
Right.
watch what they post, see how their audience engages with them. That kind of stuff is important. And then from there, if you've done your due diligence, and chances are you're not going to establish a relationship unless you've done that anyways, because most most entrepreneurs are not going to align themselves with someone else in a partnership of sort. And I'm not talking about sharing business assets or anything like that, but I'm
Right.
just saying creating opportunities for each other, unless they know something about that person. And
Yeah.
so, when you follow them on social media and you're engaging with their content, and uh, they're going to get to know a little bit about you, and they're going to notice, they're going to pay attention as well to people who are engaging with their content, sharing their content, and probably go down that path themselves to go, who is this person I keep seeing popping up?
Yeah, that's a really good point, is to research them in their social media, look at the comments, look at what people are saying. You know, there's always going to be that one person going, oh, I could do it better than this guy, right? In the comments,
Yeah.
follow me over here, whatever. But that's a good idea to, you know, there's uh software right now that's being sponsored for Black Friday called Snove, snov.io.
Okay.
And I have that as a LTD. And I was watching the ad, and the girl, they're Ukrainian, and the girl, I watched her go from broken English to now fluent in English.
Nice.
And so I was going to comment, just say, hey, you know, your English is great. But then I was like, well, I love this company. For me to comment that doesn't support their business. It's just
Right.
kind of saying, so I didn't post it. So I have to think, if I would have posted that and then I want to have them eventually come to the Automated Marketing Summit, you know, are they going to remember that? Even though it's not bad and it's not like a backslapped compliment, it's still not in line with helping. So that is really interesting. And
Yeah, and I think that you know, we see a lot of people, especially in groups online, you know, they jump in there and they're just very quick to, oh, I saw that you were a member of this group, and then they're private messaging you.
yeah,
Those kinds of building tactics do not work.
yeah,
I have literally hundreds and hundreds every single week. LinkedIn seems to be really terrible. I get a lot of messages on LinkedIn. Um, and, you know, I've never heard your name. I never seen you comment in a single post. I never seen you contribute to the group. I never, you know, and then all of a sudden you think you have a right to pop into my direct
yeah.
messages, and I don't. Yeah, that
I,
stuff doesn't work.
I love the one. It's kind of like picking up a girl at a nightclub, and it's like, hey, you and I have a lot in common, and it seems we have the same friends. So
Yeah,
why don't we go over here and talk? And it's like, okay, well, who do you know? That's my friend.
yeah,
You know, Wes Schaefer always talks about, did you even read my profile? Because the AI can't read the profile, right?
absolutely.
What they're doing now is they're using the chat GBT, and they're pulling data from there about you and then going, oh, I see. And so I had something written a long time ago on a website I don't even use anymore. And I had like a quote there, and it's like, oh, I see that you like peanut butter and jelly. And I'm like, well, yeah, I did like 15 years ago.
Yeah.
So, you know, so those automations. But so when you're saying it seems like, are you talking about do a lot of manual work in order to build these strategic alliances? Because I know I use the automation at times.
I am talking about, yeah, the manual, you know, the real work.
Yeah,
Because I mean, I'm sure there are tools out there that can maybe make it easier, maybe organize it a little bit better for you. But I'm old school, you know. I moved to Arizona 14 years ago, brand new state, started a new business, you know, didn't have any money. And the first thing I did personally is I started going out there networking.
right.
And the thing is, you know, for me, I was brand new to the state. So when you do networking groups, the idea is that, you know, it's mutually beneficial. You're going to the group because you can contribute an audience to that group, right? You
Yeah,
can contribute relationships that you have built. Well, because I was brand new to the state, I didn't have that. So instead of joining the groups with the intention of, you know, getting referrals, I joined to create connections. So before I went to the group, I would research who were members of the group. I would go to their social media profiles. I would go to their websites. I would, you know, I would check out as, you know, anything that was online about them. And when I walked into the networking group, I would like V-line to that person. I'd say, "Hey, Shoan, my name's Misty. I'm brand new to the state of Arizona. I'm originally from Michigan. And I came to this meeting because I wanted to meet you."
right.
And just by saying those words, and I didn't know that that would be the outcome. I didn't know people would like really respond to that,
Oh
but
yeah,
it was true. I think that's another thing. You got to be authentic and real. Don't just say stuff to say stuff because you think you're going to build a relationship. People catch on to that kind of stuff.
yeah.
But So I went to the meetings with the intention to meet certain people. I needed a doctor, I needed a chiropractor, I needed certain things just to exist in the community. So I went to those networking meetings. I still have the same chiropractor, I still have the same dentist. I still to this day, 14 years later, those relationships, continued on. And naturally, when you meet people, they want to help you too. I would be very open and honest and say, because I'm new to the state, I really don't have anything to offer other than the fact that I need a doctor, I need a
Yeah.
dentist.
Yeah.
And but then I would follow them on. I would leave that meeting. We would do a one-on-one coffee or whatever, and I would leave the meeting and I would send them a handwritten note just saying, "Hey, it was really great to meet with you." I'd also follow them on social media, and then I'd give them what I call a shout out. I'd just say, "Hey, and I would tag you because I followed you, and I
Right.
would tag you and say, "Hey, Shoan, it was so great to meet you today. I can absolutely see why you're one of the best, marketers in the valley." And just giving that simple shout out, what naturally happened was, one, I elevated you, which then continued building our relationship. But then also, there's very few people that actually say nice things about each other, surprisingly.
Yeah.
So when that would happen, I found that people would like click on my name, go to my profile, see who I was, and then they would follow me. And
Yeah.
I didn't know that that would happen from as a byproduct of me giving you a shout out. And I would only do it if I meant it, by the
Yeah.
way. You don't do it if you don't mean it, because again, you have a bad meeting or an awkward meeting with someone, and then you give them a shout out that, you can see why they're the best marketer in the valley. Like, yeah.
Yeah.
Outsiders might not catch on to it, but they definitely know.
It's funny, but it's kind of like, when and giving people shout outs. First of all, it's this manual stuff. So
Yeah.
we're automation, we're super nerds, we're automation people.
Yeah.
But what people don't understand is we do a lot of things manually. A
Yes.
lot. It's like one of the things I talk about the phone. I have this. There's a dial tone. Why do I have a manual old school landline phone? Because I don't want to mess up the history in my iPhone. I have more than one iPhone. I have 7 phone numbers. I have 2 iPhones on my desk that are both live. And I have this. But the thing is that people don't like picking up the phone, and they don't realize Elon Musk picks up the phone, right?
Absolutely.
Uh, Politicians pick up the phones. Billionaires pick up the phone. That's how they do deals. One of the things, and I used to do something, and let's see, I'll just say stock market stuff
Yeah.
back about 25 years ago. And people still use AOL to this day that are doing stock market stuff because they don't want it all over the place. They're just in there, and people don't even know what AOL is anymore.
Yeah, right.
But the thing is this manual stuff. Now, another thing that you're talking about is the reciprocity, but being nice first.
Yeah.
And I remember getting a shout out at the stage from at Traffic and Conversions. And I want to tell you a quick story. So I worked with this guy,
Uh-huh.
and I said, I want to be the guy that and I was very new to Infusionsoft, which is now called Keep.
Yeah.
And I was working for a guy, very first client that I ever had. And I said, I want to be the guy that goes on stage and talks about the automation. And that like the big 7-digit people are going, that's my guy. And you know
Mm-hmm.
what he said? Good luck with that.
Oh,
Okay.
really?
Then a few years later, I'm at Traffic and Conversions in the VIP section because I'm VIP. How do you do it? Anyhow, and he's back there too. And everyone's like, Shoan, what's up? And everyone's saying hi to me. And he just looks at me. And then I get a shout out from the stage. And
Yeah.
so it made me feel good, like I was important.
Yeah.
And the thing about the shout outs, and I want everyone that's watching this either or listening on the podcast, is I have to look at everyone like they're wearing a sign that around their neck, and it's a big sign, and that sign says, I'm very important.
Mm-hmm.
And when I can and when I can spotlight that sign on that person in social media, then they're going to make me feel very important. It's just reciprocal.
Yep.
So,
Absolutely.
what are some other things you've done? I get that, you know, you were new and you didn't know that was like a principle behind that. But what are some other things you do today for developing the partnerships?
Yeah, I think another thing is you want to make sure that you're staying top of mind. You know, you can't meet someone one time, give them a shout out, and then never speak of them again and expect to have a relationship. You know,
Oh,
and so it's little things like dropping them a personal message or a direct message, even just saying, "Hey, I was thinking of you."
yeah,
Or again, today social media makes it so easy to stay top of mind. Like people's comment or posts,
yeah,
comment on it, share their posts. It's interesting because I've never been the type of person that follows like celebrities and that. I don't get starstruck. I could probably sit next to a celebrity and not even know I'm sitting next to them because to me, they haven't every human has some skill that they contribute to the world. And just because you're a singer doesn't make you better than the stay-at-home mom who's raised four amazing kids. You know what I mean? Like, but the thing is we as humans have a tendency to support people who don't even freaking know our name. Like, they don't even know who you are. They wouldn't give you the time of day. They're never going to give you a shout out. They're never going to support your family. You know what I mean? And yet we have our neighbor next door who's been selling something on the side, trying to make a little extra money to support their family so they can, put their kids in football or something. And we don't support them. It's crazy. Like, we need to get a grip
yeah.
as a society. You know what
But
I mean? And stop supporting these people and they're usually not even good people. Like, a lot of them are not, like, Hollywood people are
but
not great.
but on the flip side of that, it's the SEO. So I'll give you an example. When Charlie
Yeah.
Sheen had his meltdown,
Mhm.
people didn't care. Like, that guy was smoking crack with hookers. Okay,
Right.
sorry, audience, I said it, and
I don't even
that's
know
not
who. Yeah.
that's not the topic. But the guy was having a meltdown. He was gonna die. He was like,
Oh,
"I'm gonna do this until I die." All these people were associating with him not because they cared about him, but because of the SEO. So when they said everyone was Googling Martin, what's his name? Charlie Sheen.
yeah.
I almost
No.
said his dad's name, but
I know the name, but yeah, and I probably would know his face if I
he
seen him
was on
clearly.
Two Men and a Child or something. He had some is the number one television show, and then he had a meltdown. But like Snoop Dogg made a song called Winning. And
Mhm.
so all of these people were associating with him, but they were getting exposure. So they were leveraging off of his meltdown.
Yeah.
And I found that really interesting. Let me give you another example. I want to talk about something, talking about strategic power partnerships. And this is where you're going to get mad at me.
I doubt it, but
Jake Paul
okay.
and Mike Tyson. A lot of people
Oh,
say,
yeah.
okay, now let me tell you something. What a lot of people missed. Did you see the fight?
No.
Okay. Well, there's a fight before that was freaking real and brutal, and it was warriors and it was women, and
Yeah, I've heard that. I
they
have
were
heard
going
that.
toe to toe, right? So that right there was worth it, the weight in gold of the show, of the performers and the actual athletes. Now, the Mike Tyson and Jake Paul, maybe they were more of a performance than a fight, right?
Yeah.
But here's the deal. Netflix, if you would have watched all the people and like Shaq was up there going, "Oh yeah, we're going to do this with Netflix with basketball and we're going to have," and then there was like all these people promoting Netflix to the next level of
Yeah.
possibility of sports, live stream sports in Netflix.
Yeah.
And even though Jake Paul is who he is and does what he does, and people either love him or hate him, some people say don't follow him because he does this. The deal is, he was the one that did this, probably unknowingly, but brought this strategic alliance with Netflix,
Sure.
which is now
Absolutely.
reaching. So, and I was thinking to myself, how many people paid just, you know what? I'm gonna redo my Netflix. I canceled it 3 years ago. I'm going to pay the $20 for this month just to watch this thing. Netflix probably made $500 million.
Yeah. I'm curious to see. I think the concept is great. I think the fact that they misled their audience. I mean, you know, WWF, right? Like I think everybody knows that's fake.
Oh, it is?
But they didn't I don't think anybody expected this to be fake.
Yeah.
And I think you burnt a lot of would have, you know, had been fans. I think you burn a lot of people, and now they're not going to trust when Netflix. If Netflix continues to do this with other sports, I don't know. I'd be curious how the fans react to it.
Well,
Because,
see, that's the point I'm making. The point I'm making is that
you burnt bridges.
It wasn't about Jake and Mike. It was about Netflix.
Mm-hmm.
And then they brought all these other people, and even the commentators were going, "Oh, well, I would love to speak on that. Oh, we would love to have you." So if you watch that again, all of the people in between the commentators and the other athletes and the people, they had the guys from Cobra Kai were in there, and they kept showing them. But people kept talking about these partnerships that were possibilities. And I'm like, no, those were talks that they already knew they were going to say this on the line.
Absolutely.
And everyone, and so Hollywood, one of my favorite lines in I think it was the Academy Awards. I forgot his name, but he writes some show, and he's really irreverent. But he goes, you know, most of you Hollywood people would throw your parents and your children under the bus to have a larger audience, you know.
Absolutely.
And that's what's happening here. But again, I'm getting back to the strategic power partnerships. So
you're seeing that. Yeah, you're seeing it even at, you know, the next door neighbor level. Now,
how are we seeing it that way?
Well, look at all the you know, the people on social media that are sharing their daily routines as an example, right? And they're like, this is the protein mix that I use in my shake in the morning. That's a relationship that they have built with someone. So we're seeing it even at the smaller level. And here's what's someone said, and I don't know who it was, and I don't know if this is actually true, that you know, the small channel, the mom, the dad, the whatever, that has built a little bit of an audience, has more influence today than these big Hollywood actors, because we know we're onto them now, like they're fake. Right. But the video of the mom next door who's sharing her morning routine, or the stroller that she loves to take her kids on a walk in, like that's real and authentic, and she's actually using it. Now, are everybody going to be, you know, stay that way? I don't know. Right. But as it stands right now, like up to this point, the most of the stuff that we see in social media from the everyday average human is real and authentic, you know, sharing that kind of opened up doors of opportunities with brands, because the brands see that they built a community, and they're like, hey, I seen that you were promoting our stroller. You know, we'd love to have you do some other things for us.
Oh,
so
I got a great example of that.
Money is shifting right now, and opportunity is shifting right now. And I think it creates a great opportunity for anyone to go into business. So I'll give a little plug for my aspiring entrepreneurs who are thinking, man, I'd really like to make a side hustle, you know, some side hustle money, or maybe even quit my full-time job. And there's some opportunities there.
Well, how would they find you if they were aspiring what you just said?
Yeah, if you just go to mistykortes.com, and it'll lead you down the path.
And her name
to my community.
Her name is on the screen, and for those listening to the podcast, it's Misty. Sounds just like it's spelled just like it sounds. Misty. Kortes is Kortes.
Yes. No C and no Z.
Right. Right. And so, you know, I got a great example of someone that did something for a product just because they thought it was funny, and it went viral. Do you want to know what it is?
Yeah.
Do you remember the Chewbacca mask?
Yes.
Oh my gosh. And that was hilarious. She puts it on, she starts laughing, And the more she laughs, the more the mask goes, "Roar." And that
That's
thing
funny.
just sold out, you know?
Yeah.
And so it's like little, you never know what's going to go viral, but it's just people sharing a product that they like, you know, and that was authentic. It was funny. It probably had everything that needed to go viral, especially the laughter, because the more you watched it, the more you laughed. And then you,
Mhm.
and what, anything that makes me laugh, I'm gonna, well, not anything that makes me laugh, because sometimes I'm like, "Oh, I probably shouldn't share this." But most of the things that make me laugh or make me feel good or happy, you know, I'm going to share. But with also with that, you were saying the mom and pops and the neighbor. So what
Mhm.
are some things that are people that are aspiring, you know, the up and coming stars? What are some of the things they're doing? One of the things, I have a Facebook group called Video a Day, and it's for
Mm.
my clients. They got them, they don't want to get out there. They don't want to make a video and put it out there. They're like,
Mhm.
"Oh, you know, this curl isn't right," you know. I go, "Well, just post it
Like
in
my
here."
hair today, I was
Yeah.
like, "Ah."
Well, we're you know, we're already, but so but then it's like I got to make a video a day. That's what this is. And then I do all these videos. I'm on Zoom all the time. I'm all over the place. I'm not all over the place. By the way, we're doing I'm working with we're going to be the largest live event in Phoenix, Arizona, in Maricopa County. The largest live event, not competing with the Dean Graciosis and Anthony Robbins and what's that guy who flies a
Joe
jet?
Polish. Oh.
Cardone.
Oh, Cardone, yeah, Grant.
Yeah. So not competing with those guys, but just local businesses. We just had an event last week with 125 people,
Nice.
and we're going to have more, but these are like business things. There's not party. My good friend Dave Walter has one called Wicked Awesome. Have you ever heard of that?
I haven't.
So it's really fun. But what it's turned into, it was a business mixers. What it started out was Chandler Chamber of Commerce. Then he went out on his own. He did Wicked Awesome. Then it was all business. But now it's just like the friends of. So a lot
Mhm.
of people go there to like, they're not business. Like I work at Toys R Us,
Right.
the executive director. But I'm just here because it's fun, right?
Yeah.
And I don't. So we're gonna be the actual business side of that.
Nice.
But the reason I bring that up is the relationship I have with them. I'm like, look, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do it at a low um, agreement, right? But I'm going to speak on all the stages, and I'm going to get full exposure, right?
Mhm.
So that was kind of the agreement. So what are some of the things the rising stars and the mom and pops can do to get more exposure or with power partnerships? Do you understand what I'm asking?
Mm. Oh,
Like,
yeah, to establish those relationships. So
how
first
can
of
they
all, you gotta
establish that relationship and then leverage from it?
yeah, the first thing you gotta do is build a community. So
Mm.
you gotta share things that are authentic and to you, so that you know, this is the thing. I think when people think about sharing on social media, they're sharing with intention, right? Um, but you can almost overdo it to the point where it's too intentional and then it's not authentic. And so therefore it doesn't resonate. And then what doesn't resonate does not build community. Right.
Yeah,
So, like, I think here's what typically happens. Someone is on a weight loss journey, as an example, because we see these all the time. And they're just sharing their journey authentically, just real, open, messages and communication, and just saying, here's a quick win. I started drinking my water every day. I lost 5 pounds. I lost 10 pounds. And then all of a sudden they're posting every single day for a period of time, usually a year to 2 years. And then all of a sudden, through that journey, they wake up one day and their content is starting to get traction. They're starting to get followers, and their community blows up. And then because of that, now they have some leverage that they can go to businesses that they have used their product and say, "Hey, I love your product." And chances are they probably shout out to those businesses anyways, and the business, it's on the business's radar anyways. And just say, I'd like to create a partnership with the company. And that's how it starts. It's as simple as that. But it starts with building a real brand first, a real personal brand around something you have an interest in, and it doesn't have to be one single thing. You as a human, I mean, we have multiple facets to our lives,
Yeah.
You could have children, you can have, be married, you can be on a weight loss journey, and you can share all of those things at the same time. And I think it's good to do that, because that's what people want to build relationships with real people that they relate to. And so
Yeah.
when you're sharing that stuff, that's how you build your community.
So it's interesting. My passion, I love people. I love groups of people. I love bringing people together. Like that's really has always been my passion.
Yeah.
And I had a girlfriend of mine, her sister's in town, and this is a girlfriend, right? And her sister's in town, and she's like, "Oh yeah, Shoan's working on his next $1 million project, right?" I'm always working on like, "Oh, maybe I'll play guitar and I'll be the next, Jimi Hendrix." But the thing is that it's really got to be a passion and something that you're not, like when you said the weight loss thing, it's someone that just started and they said, well, I'm going to go on a weight loss journey. Then they start filming it. And then, but it's really a passion. It's not like, oh, you know what would be good? Maybe if I did a weight loss thing, and your heart's not there. I find that a lot with people. They're like, well, I'll just do this. And I've even done it. When I went to coach coaches, I'm like, I work with these 7-digit companies. I'm not saying this will happen to you, but I was losing it. I was like talking to people and like, oh my God, like the delusion that I was dealing with.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, well, we're over in this $20,000 program. And I'm like, well, I know, but what are they doing? Oh, they let me talk and I make writing copy for my website. I'm like, are you making any money?
Yeah.
And then
I think a big test is this a passion? Is this something that you should be pursuing? Are you excited about doing it? If it's a chore to you to do it every day, then you're not going to do it most likely. And then when you can't build a community around around like that,
and
you have to be consistent.
And that's what we're doing with this event in Phoenix and in Maricopa County. Is I'll call 15,000 people and tell them, hey, we have an event coming up. I want to see you there. A couple things are going to come from it. If they do come to the event, they're going to remember my voice, because I'm the only one with this voice. And I'm kind of a big presence when I go somewhere. And but it'll also bring people together to where they can network. But I want to tell you something. So with the Automated Marketing Summit, the first one we did, Bryce spoke about Slaughtable. We had 45 people there.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a girl named Catherine Lloyd, who's a partner, and she was there. And I got lost. I was like, I don't know how this software works. It was called AirMeet. It wasn't Zoom. So you can go in all these different rooms. And there's times like I'm in a room by myself. I'm like, where is everybody? And they're out like mingling and having a good time. And so then I talked to Catherine on the phone a couple days later, and I have this own opinion of myself in the Keep and in the digital marketer community.
Mm-hmm.
She said, wow, Shoan, everyone that talked about you with a real reverence. And I was like, really? They talk? She's like, yeah. And it just surprised me. But the reason they talked to me about me like that is I brought them all together.
Exactly.
So it was about the community, and they just really appreciated the fact that I worked my butt off to bring them together. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
But
you're creating opportunities for people. You're giving first, which is the foundation to creating a partnership. You got to give first.
Yeah. So then you're talking about this passion. So let's, aside from the weight loss thing, so once they get traction and a following and some sponsors, what are some things that a person should do when first of all, you got to reach out to them, even if you think you're not good enough, right?
Yep.
And you said, and usually the partner already has an eye on you, even though you don't know it.
If you've done it right, because
Yeah,
you've given them shout outs, you followed their brand, you're
right.
liking, commenting, sharing on their content.
Yeah.
You're being visible in the background as it is. And eventually when you do reach out because you have a community, um, they're going to notice that. They're going to pay attention to all that.
This kind of inspires me. I have a software called, so I have a ton of software. I have this software called Break Cold. And what it does is it goes in LinkedIn and it pulls in all of the people. So it pulls in all of their, I can comment and I can like, and I can, do all this stuff. And then I can send them emails. It'll have their, it's like a little CRM,
Nice.
and it has a SMTP, so I could email the people.
Yeah.
But the deal is that, so I have the Shark Tank people, just their LinkedIn accounts. So I can follow them and comment on them and say, oh, hey, and I agree with that, or I don't agree with that. But what it does is it gives me more exposure to the people that are like I'm not Mr. Wonderful, but I comment on his stuff, right?
That's it. Yeah.
And so then my goal is to, again, you kind of inspired me. I'm looking for the rising stars speakers in Maricopa County.
There you go.
And
Yep.
and it's kind of like, well, I could shoot for the Dean Graciosis because he's like Anthony Robbins' right-hand man right now. I don't know if I want to be associated with him.
But that's another tip is right there is you want to meet you want to create a partnership with people that are at your same growth level,
Yeah.
right? To try to go and get Tony or Anthony Robbins or Tony Robbins, right?
Yeah.
To come and speak at your event when you're just starting out in business is probably not very likely at this point. That doesn't mean that you can't be building that
Right.
relationship
That's
from
what I'm saying.
now. Yeah, it takes time.
So
But
we want to get these rising star speakers.
yeah.
And I kind of have a few in mind already, just because I'm in the speaker circuit.
Yeah.
And because the people we have right now are right here. I want to get these people here, but I'm doing the comments on these top dogs.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah, absolutely, because it's a long term, it's a long game, right?
Right.
But you got to play the short game too, which is meeting the people where you're at in your growth phase. For
Yeah.
sure. And
So
that's,
what,
we're doing a live stream right now. If someone is listening to Shoan and going, I'm a rising speaker. I'd like to have an opportunity to speak at a summit. You should be commenting on this
yeah,
because that's how he's going to start paying attention to you. Like
exactly.
it's as simple as that. Just comment, make a comment, about the talk today, contribute to the talk today with your expertise, and that's how it starts. One of the things I recommend that our clients do, I have a thing. I call it a freedom tracker.
Okay.
It's how you achieve freedom, in building a successful business. And one of the things on the tracker is doing 5 contributions a day on social media. So I'm not just talking about way to go, that's great, love it, not those kinds of comments. I'm talking about an in-depth, like share your expertise and your knowledge 5 times a day. If you do that over a period of time, you're going to build so much awareness, and gain so many followers just from simply doing that one activity.
Are you
And
saying share on your own stream or comment?
I'm talking about comments. So go into groups, go on to pages of people that you want to build relationships with. So it starts with creating a list of people that you want to get connected to. So if Shoan's on that list, what you should do every single day, you're jumping on social media and going, did Shoan share something today that I can contribute to?
Right.
And then comment on that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing is, do you have any experience with like someone commenting and then you're like, whoa, and then and because
It's
I
off the
do.
wall.
I had a client, I won't say his name, but he paid me like $3,500 a month. And we ended up being really, really great friends, almost like brothers.
Mhm.
And you know what he did? You know what he said? He said, "Is there anyone out there that can make a lead page for me?"
Mm.
I said, "I can make a lead page for you." He goes, "How much?" I go, $100. Because I wanted to like get his credit card number.
That's it. Yeah,
And so I
absolutely.
got it. And then he's like, "Oh, that's cool." And I go, "Oh, you want, and it took like 10 minutes to make it.
Yep.
And then he goes, and then next thing you know, we're doing $3,500 a month
Good. Yeah, it
for
starts because you gave first, right? He's never going to
right,
get a lead page built
but it
for
was
him
a
for $100.
comment, but it was a
Mhm.
comment, right?
Yeah,
And so do you have any stories like that?
absolutely. I've had plenty. I don't even know where to start,
Well,
to be
just one
honest.
with where you either commented or someone commented on your stuff, and then it was just like someone you didn't know, but you read their comment, and then you said, "Hey, well, let's."
Absolutely.
So, what's your most successful one?
Oh, I don't know. Let me think. I'd have to think about that. Give me a
The one,
second.
the one that made you $1.2 million in 6 months.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of off the top of my head because there's been so many of them that have resulted. I don't know the most successful. Yeah, and I don't know that they're big in that. Yeah.
I'll tell you another one. This one didn't monetize, but so when we started out, there's a guy named Ron. We were
Mhm.
following Frank Kern and Ryan Dice, and this is like
Mm.
2007 or something, right? And so he and I were uh just we're gonna be coaches, right? We're gonna be business and stuff, and we built all this stuff up. And this is how Coach Marketing Mastery got started many, many years ago.
Yeah.
Well, this is before Coach Marketing Mastery, but we were just like trying to figure stuff out. Well, anyhow, he took off. He went into corporate America. I stayed in. I started doing Infusionsoft, did digital marketing, became an agency, all this stuff. And so then, so the thing is that I was in digital marketer, and I posted one of my favorite pictures is of Ryan Dice carrying a case of water while all the girls were behind him, which are his employees.
Mhm.
They're the ones that are supposed to move the chairs and do the stuff, but it was Ryan, the owner, right?
Yeah.
And they were all walking behind him. So I took a picture of him, and I always say this is the true vision of, or this is the true example of leadership, is doing the dirty work even when you don't have to, right?
Right. Yep.
So I posted that, and then Ryan said, "When did you take this picture?" Right? So now I have this like interaction with Ryan, and I said, "Oh, traffic and conversions 2017, I think." I said
Yep.
that twice today.
Nice.
Anyhow, the next day I talked to the Ron guy that I haven't talked to in 10 years. And so I took a snapshot of Ryan and I chatting in comments and sent it to him. So it made me
Nice.
feel like, hey, I made it, right?
Yep.
So it's just little things like that that can leverage you as a coach or get you to do you ever take snapshots of comments people like say like
I have not done that.
oh, I do it all the
Yeah.
time.
Yeah, that's great. I like that idea, though.
And then
I
what you
like
can
that a
do,
lot.
so say like Gandhi or Anthony or someone comments on your post, I take a snapshot of it. That's social proof.
Yep.
And they can't say I didn't do that.
Yeah, I've had now that I had a second to think about it. I very early on when I first started my business and I was super active on social. I'm just now kind of getting back into that scene because I've been running an agency
Yeah.
and it's just been we've been acquiring clients in a different capacity. So it's really good having this conversation. It's like reminding me and re-energizing me to go back to the roots of how I built my business originally. But in the early stages, when I was doing all these different shout outs, I had an opportunity like to go and speak at one of the local radio stations because they had seen me commenting on someone's post, and I don't know, one way or another they found me. Another one was Kodak, the film company, Kodak.
Never heard.
They seen some social some shout outs that I was doing, and then kind of found me on my profile, saw that I spoke on social media topics, back in the day, and they invited me to their event. It was an online event that I spoke to. It was like 500 um, businesses that owned retail locations for Kodak. So, and they paid me for that. That was my first paid speaking opportunity that I ever got paid on.
Yeah.
So it was just kind of cool. Like these things work. It's just, I think sometimes today, if you've been in the entrepreneurial space, you kind of see a lot of people doing this now. Like you see people inauthentically doing shout outs or liking and commenting on posts, or you hear people doing all these, you know, private messages and they don't have established relationships. Those and it kind of turns you off
Yeah.
because it's like everybody's doing it and they're not really getting results. And the reason why they're not getting results is because it's not real, authentic relationships. They're not authentically shouting out. Like I had the guy I just blocked on my LinkedIn account because he was posting and he was commenting, but the comments weren't even making any sense, like on my post. And I was like, he's just doing this to get exposure. I had a gal last week who did a shout out to me. Although I believe hers was authentic, which was really sweet because she said, she listed like 3 or 4 people that she follows on these specific topics. And she shouted me out with Amy Porterfield of all people, which was really sweet. Even though I've never met her, I authentically believe she actually meant what she posted. You know what I mean? Yeah, because yeah.
You think she didn't mean it or she did?
I think she did. But the other guy that was doing it on LinkedIn, he was just doing it to get exposure.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I would take a snapshot of that.
Yeah, it was garbage post. The post, like the comments that he would make didn't even make sense. So I ended up blocking.
I'm talking about the girl with
the other girl. I know. I need to do that. That's a good idea.
That snapshot and say, me and my homegirl Amy Porterfield hanging out with So.
Yeah, that's a great idea. Yeah.
Because it's not a lie, it's like I'm not going to say anyone's name, but I made a ton of money with a real big top coach. And I always say that I made $38.
Yeah.
But a ton of money, that's a ton of money to someone.
Yeah.
But so we're coming to the top of the hour. The thing is, when it comes to the strategic power partnerships, just starting out, it's going to be manual. It's going to be authentic. If you go to automate it, like I automate my LinkedIn outreach and a lot of people respond to it. My thing is they're like, hey, Shoan, how are you doing? And then I'm so busy, I got to start responding to these people. But it's really got to be, there's a lot of manual work. There's a lot of reaching out. There's a lot of,
when you say a lot, I mean, if you set a half hour a day aside to do these things, that would be enough.
So why don't we wrap it up with you said there's 5, you said something earlier about 5, a calendar where you 5 minutes a day or something. Do you remember what you're talking about?
Oh, you mean commenting on the post? So let me pull up my freedom tracker here. Give me one second.
Your freedom tracker. So let's end with
that.
How to get it.
Yeah.
You can go to ShoanSnoday.com. You guys all know how to find me. If not, it's okay. If you're listening to the podcast. And then Misty Kortes is MistyKortes.com.
Yeah. And can I share a link with you in here?
You should be able to share.
Where do I share? Oh, private.
It's the plus sign.
All right. I just shared the link so you can get a copy of this document. It's super simple. All you do is check the box, literally. So I always say that there's 3 things that you need to focus on in your business until you're making $1 million a year: marketing, sales, and delivering your services. And the way that they should be broken down: 10 hours of marketing a week, 10 hours in sales a week, 20 hours in delivering your services. If you're just getting started in business and you don't have 20 hours of delivering, then you need to spend more time in marketing and sales. It's that simple. I have a whole training on this, by the way, too. So if they go to my website, I go in depth on how you should allocate the time and all that stuff. But this freedom tracker, number 1, you take an hour a week to plan your content calendar. Next, you host a 30-minute Facebook live call. That should take you about an hour a week, 30 minutes to prepare, 30 minutes to deliver. Take that Facebook live call, break it, pull the transcript from that live call, and kind of massage it a little bit into a blog post that you can put on your website. Then send 3 emails a week, 5 social media posts a week. I know I'm going fast, so if they get this document, they're going to get all the details. And then 5 value-driven comments a day in groups or with people that you're following. So and when I say comments, it's not just liking it and not just saying, oh, I love this. It's actually giving some valuable insight to the post or the comment, right? So making sure that you're diligent about that. And then run and monitor a Facebook ad for $10 a day. So it's $300 a month ad spend. Even if you don't know what the heck you're doing, you're going to figure it out. It's very simple to set up nowadays, but that's going to help you guarantee that you get exposure onto your stuff, especially in the early stages of you building your business. You do that, that's about 10 hours a week in activity. And basically all you're doing is you're just checking the box that you completed those things.
Nice.
Yeah.
So we'll make sure people get that. Go to mistykortes.com for more information.